Welcome, friends, to yet another episode of More Than a Career program, where we draw knowledge from the experts so that when you are about to choose your own career, you're well informed, you know exactly what is expected, demanded, and required of you. In this episode, we have Chef Itai. Chef Itai, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you very much for sparing this minute to be with us today.
Thank you so much.
Introduce yourself. Who is Chef Itai and what is your profession?
All right, Chef Itai. My birth name is actually Rodney Itai Zishiri.
Okay.
I started, I'm a chef, I do cooking, and chefing is more than just cooking. It's,
Okay. Tell us, what is it about?
All right, it's about managing all aspects of the kitchen, as well as the business, as well as empowering and being able to train another person. Yes. So I chose Chef Itai as more personality to it, and my aspirations of going global. At least it'll still tie me to my roots, as it's always a talking point. Why Itai? And culturally, yes, culturally I'm a Zimbabwean, and so most of our menus have a Zimbabwean, touch to it. So that's why the Chef Itai.
Oh, so who or what inspired you to choose this career path to become a chef? What's the motivation?
What's the motivation? There's many motivations, to be honest. But at the end of the day, I believe internal satisfaction, internal happiness, delivering a good service, delivering awesome food, making people happy. As a youngster, I was a people pleaser, and I guess food ties into that as well. But yeah, growing up, I used to cook with my mom right from the age of 6. And you know how it is, post-industrialization era, parents were working long hours, so I used to step in and cook for myself.
Beautiful.
And
you're the firstborn?
no, I'm not the firstborn.
Okay.
I was the first one to like the kitchen.
You're the first one to like the kitchen. So I guess food has always been your passion.
Yes.
Something that is within you.
Yes.
And your mom had to pave room for you to make sure you are in the kitchen.
Yes.
Beautiful. So in short, you can say your mother had a bit of influence in shaping your career or in supporting you.
100%.
Beautiful.
Then
Beautiful.
in the middle and now as well.
Yeah. Your beautiful wife.
Yes.
Okay. So, what challenges have you been facing in your career so far, if there are any? What's the story like?
What's the story like? That's a very big question, and
we've got all the time. Someone out there who aspires to be a chef needs to know these issues so that when they're making this career choice, they are well informed.
Firstly, in the beginning, when I decided to actually become, become commercial and make it my whole job. Like I was working in another
full-time career.
I was working in another industry before.
Which industry were you working in?
I worked in banking and insurance.
Okay, what's the difference? That's interesting. We'll talk about that.
Yes.
You can proceed.
So the biggest challenge was, especially locally, it's fear. The fear of how will I get a fair remuneration for my labor or the skills that I might acquire. So there's always a reluctance from the actual chefs, the support groups of the chefs to say, is this something you really want to do? Because it's long hours, it's hard hours, and sometimes the reward is not what you would like. If you can jump that hurdle, that's the first big hurdle for anyone, especially myself, and find a way to place value on your service and deliver consistently on that promised value, and then deliver, you start to get the remuneration.
So it actually took you time to invest in your career as a chef.
Yes.
Commitment, time on it.
Yes.
Now, the funny part, why transitioning from banking to chef? Has it always been? Would you say you are someone who was a chef by passion, and then banking and finance was your career? You actually went to school for career and for banking and finance.
Yes. So
what then got you to do the transition?
Finish high school. I went to university. So that's when I did a business degree first.
Okay.
So initially I was going to be accountant. My mom was an accountant.
Okay.
As I informed you in the previous question, that the idea that being a chef in Zimbabwe was pretty daunting. So I was going through the accounting part. Finished my degree, But all through university, I used to cook for functions, for people, for friends, for church, for the university events, and getting some remuneration on the side to help myself sustain, because I paid myself through university.
Oh, I see.
Yes. So I was already doing it. I had not registered that I'm doing it.
And it's actually your thing that you're supposed to focus on.
Yes.
Oh.
So I was going to school, and I'm like, in those days it was my side hustle. What
Your
people
side
call it.
hustle, yeah, of course.
So we did that. We graduated with our first degree, so that was fun. Then from there, we did exceptional. The bank took us right out of graduation, one of the best banks in Canada, and then I started working with them. You're happy, you're getting a decent paycheck, but you don't have that
satisfaction.
Yes, that extra
that sense of relevance. I am doing my thing.
Yes. But you'll be living well, but comforts and all that. Yeah. So we did that, and then I changed from banking to insurance. So I guess that was a bit of that. I'd reached the limit of just enjoying
the banking finance component.
Yeah. So we did insurance as well, and then life happens. I had to come back home to deal with the family incident, and at this time I was still cooking family functions. So it kind of opened my mind. It took me out of the banking insurance.
So coming back home got you back to your senses that you're not a banker.
Yeah.
Because when as much as the dollar you're getting, but it's not your thing.
Yeah. So it came back, brought me back to like full circle mode, ground zero, and then just doing it.
You were still doing the events.
Yes,
cooking,
that's been consistent, but not with the the conviction of I am going to do this my thing. Was back home in all the cookings for family and friends. A friend of a friend attended a function that I cooked for, and they were just starting up a restaurant in Cape Town. And I give credit to her. She opened my mind to it and actually showed me that I'm actually doing a valuable service. She said, "You're doing great work here. This is amazing stuff. The food is welcoming. You're telling a story with the food as well as with your personality. So we would like to invite you to come and work with us at our boutique hotel as a head chef." And this is with no formal
in South Africa.
In Cape Town, yes. With no formal culinary program yet. That's the first time it clicked. You can do this. The sky is the limit if you go for it. Don't put a ceiling on yourself or on the career. So we went there, 2-3 years there. Basically, the model of that company was the guests used to come from abroad, from Belgium, Germany, and they would do boutique holidays. They would have all the events structured for the days, and then my job was to make sure they had food.
They're all fed.
Meals. Yes. So I cooked for guests from all over the world, all the time. It was fun. I enjoyed what I was doing, but it wasn't my thing. It was doing my
friends.
I was doing something that I enjoyed, but happy someone, which is fair, which is okay. I think you still need to, especially with the culinary, you still need to do these steps. As we say, there's no walking without crawling.
Of course.
Yes. So these are my steps of growth, I believe. I also do include cooking at home for my family as part of the steps of growth. People tend to think that's not experience. It is. As long as you're playing with the heat and the food. Yes.
You mentioned something, you mentioned something very critical. Let's go back to the first stage of you transitioning or realizing that food was your inspiration and it was something that you're supposed to pursue lifelong.
Yes.
Young people out there, they are struggling to choose careers. Probably they chose a specific career because of peer pressure, because of that's what their points allow. By default, you just say, I'm going to be a social worker, I'm going to be an engineer. But those professions, they're not really speaking to them.
Yes.
And they've these side hustles as well that they are doing. What word of encouragement would you give, or what word of information would you give to that young person to say, you've got this that you're doing, but you need to spend some time, do some introspection before you waste a lot of time and a lot of resources.
Yes.
So what word of encouragement would you give, or what word of advice would you give to young people out there when it comes to career choices, so that they don't really waste time, or they don't take too much time to then later realize, I've missed on so many opportunities that I should have utilized.
Yes. I've seen two models that work for this. I took the one of the two. So the two models is be aggressive, be courageous,
Be
brave.
courageous, be brave.
Take the leap, take the risk. Life is about taking risks, risks in the career, and if you've got what it takes, also take a risk in doing your own business. If you can do that and put your heart to it and are consistent, you will make something of it. As long as you deliver consistently on the promise of what you're delivering, you will get.
You'll be good to go.
Yes, what you're putting in, you get out 100%.
100%.
With that being said, nothing starts big. They say Rome was not built in a day. As you're building, I'm sure you've seen people building big structures. They may start foundation, get to know, they break it down again.
So true.
They fix it up.
So true.
You face adversity. You may have a vision in the beginning, a certain path you want to take, but that may change with new incoming information and new environment as we go. But I guess, like we spoke to before camera, once you have a mission and a goal, and you strive for it every day, you will get there and standing by.
You get there. So, in summary, we are saying, young people out there, take time to introspect, take time to think about the career that you really want to choose. If you feel you're on the wrong path, be courageous.
Yes.
To make the changes.
Yes.
Be bold enough to say, even if you have to say to your mom, this profession is not for me.
Yes.
So that you put the dollar to good use.
Yes.
To better use. Thank you very much for that, Chef Itai. Take a leap, be courageous, own your own profession, because it is your life.
Yes.
It is your life.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. So then the next stage, you said you met your friend. We are not talking about the realization perspective, the realization point, where you realize this career is food is your life.
Yes.
And you need to make sure you turn it into your own organization. What steps did you then take? How do you realize that? And what do you do? There's more take the conviction, the communication. What did you involve in all these things to start to shape the career, and also to get the education bit?
Yes.
What did you do in between, so that someone out there might be going through the same situation will know exactly what they might do?
Yes. So I once read a statement that says good food is inevitable. Yes. So this is now speaking with hindsight. In the moment, I probably did not realize what was coming. But with hindsight, in terms of the conviction part, I can assure you, in the beginning, family and close friends, it's not so much they don't believe in you. It's just they be speaking from their own perspective or from their own shoes and experiences. So when they give you words of, think about it, or are you sure, it's not to discourage you, or at least in my shoes. It's just to make sure you're sure. But once they see the train starting to move, this guy or this lady is serious. They are putting their all, their effort, and it speaks for itself. Trust me, everybody jumps on the bandwagon. And then what happens at that moment? Everyone is starting from your inner circle. When they're somewhere, whether it's in the supermarket, people are waiting in line. I'm looking for a kid. I've got a cousin of mine. I've got a friend of mine. He's good. He loves what he do. You must talk to him. So once you start to convince the people near you, which you don't have to be fake about it. Just be true to yourself and true to what you're doing. It will show for itself. People will see and say, "Wow, he's talented, hardworking. He's gonna make it happen. He's consistent. He's just, all those things will show." But yeah.
Thank you very much for that, Chef Itai. You actually pinpointed something critical, which I think we need to emphasize for the sake of the young people out there. You see, I've observed there's so much conflict between parents and children over careers because a certain career, the parent is not sure
Yes.
of whether it's going to be sustaining, whether it's rewarding, whether because the parent wants to win you off.
Yes.
Because they have that fear, and not everyone is like you, Chef Itai, to be honest, who then takes the critiques as a stepping stone,
Yes.
or who views everything with the limelight.
Yeah.
So many young people out there, especially these professions, I don't know, we need to look for a name for these kind of professions, whereby people are not sure of what really happens.
Yes.
They are not so clear
Yes.
whether one will be successful or not. What word of advice would you then also give to the parents
Yes.
of these children to say, you know what, as much as you're not sure yourself as the parent, these are the things that you might look into to support your child so that when they are making the choices, they are confident from the inner man.
Yes.
Building that confidence, because sometimes conviction is a process.
Yes, 100%.
It's a process. So what word of advice would you give to the parents?
To the parents.
Especially when they are not sure of the nature of the profession.
Yes. To the parents, like I said, everyone has different experiences,
Of course.
different access to information.
Of course.
But at the end of the day, I believe if they can give it a bit of open-mindedness, open-mindedness to see how their child can actually make a difference in said profession, as well as be open-minded to the information they've heard before is not always what's called, they call it the gospel, I guess. That's what's going to happen or affect everybody. Yes, if we're speaking on a local perspective, the environment it has said to be not favorable for chefs, but I don't think we're bound, especially our environment. As a chef, if you decide to be a travel chef, you can. You can go to different countries, and likewise, you get more remuneration. And if they also take a risk and decide, okay, we're going to be supportive of our child, it gives the child a sense of, it pushes them forward, it gives them the
Give them
strength, courage, and that feeling of they got my
I've
back.
got,
Yes.
exactly.
You
They've
give
got
them-
my back.
They've got feathers in their wings, and that allows them to be more creative, take more risks, work harder, because at the end of the day, family is everything.
Of course.
The kids
Family
strive
is
to
everything.
make their parents proud as well. So which is why there's always that social emotional disconnect when it comes to
Of course.
certain hard decisions. But I will say this as well. I also want to flip it, chef's children.
Of course.
I read this in a book and
Of
it was
course.
so profound for me, so I like to share it. As parents grow older, as everyone grows older, we start to face the reality of mortality.
Of course.
Mortality also leads to legacy. How is my child gonna fend for themselves when I'm? Parents are also, especially in our culture, are judged by their kids and what their kids are
Very
doing.
true. Very
So if the kids or the children of the said parents can understand that and see that, they can see where their parents are coming from. And sometimes that, if they can bridge that gap of disconnect, I believe there becomes a connection and they'll begin to support each other.
Thank you very much for that profound information. Thank you very much. Because it's a real struggle, I tell you, and it has serious psychological effects
Yes.
to the individual.
Yeah.
Later I want to talk about the financial impact.
Yes.
Thank you very much. You've heard it for yourself, family and friends out there, both parents and aspiring chefs.
Yes.
So spend some time to also do your own research
Yes.
about a particular profession if you're not sure yourself, and give the young person an opportunity, a chance. In practice now, let's talk about the real work.
Yes.
Someone yesterday when I was doing a bit of background check to see what people they really want to know about chefs,
Yes.
one young lady said, if I'm to meet a chef, I'm going to ask them one question. Do we make money? Is there real money out there? So maybe someone out there might need to know first, do we make the dollar as chefs? Is the dollar there? What would you say?
Yes, the dollar's there.
The dollar is there.
But in the beginning, don't live for the dollar.
Don't live for the dollar.
Go
Please emphasize on that.
Don't live for the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
It's a process.
It's a process.
As you grow,
Mm-hmm.
you'll be able to do more things and do things that can generate more money.
More money.
You get that mileage, and you know, as you're doing more,
Mm-hmm.
you have a bigger catalog.
Mm-hmm.
People start to see the value of your service,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually you can start to charge more. I can alternatively just give it a switch to, for example, doctors.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, junior doctors, they, you know, almost volunteering as I think they're doing us. Then you start off as a general practitioner,
Mm-hmm.
and then as you go higher, as you specialize, you start to earn more.
You start to earn more.
You can a GP earns what $20 an hour for a consultation.
Mm-hmm.
A person who does back surgery does about $250 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
They all went to school for eight years,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a process.
And some are still going.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for emphasizing, for mentioning one thing. It's a process.
Yes.
The dollar is there, but allow yourself to go through the process so that people have an appreciation of your service as a chef. Now let's talk about the real work.
Yes.
How is a day like, a busy day like for a chef?
All right.
We need people to know the real work that has to be done for us to get this dollar we are talking about. How is a day like for a chef? A busy day.
100%. I'll speak of it from two perspectives.
Okay.
One was when I worked as an employee with a couple of world-renowned hotels, like the Four Seasons and the Hilton. I've worked abroad in Greece and the United States.
Well, and that means you've got a wide range of experience.
Yes. So the career itself is it's labor intensive, especially in the beginning. The labor to reward doesn't feel just. But this is the process, like we mentioned. This is the process. As you know, in the kitchen there's a brigade. You start off as a commis, that's like an apprentice, and then you go up sous chef, chef de partie, demi chef de partie. It's a brigade. It's almost like the army,
the army,
the police,
where you go up the ladder slowly.
Yes, slowly but surely.
But surely.
But you have to put in the time because I can assure you, my first job with Four Seasons was as a commis. I had vast experience. I was way more experienced with the role. But
how many hours would you work?
Sometimes 10, sometimes 60.
In the kitchen.
In the kitchen. And in that case, you're being given tasks and you do what you're being told because you're working.
Can you give some examples of the task, the nature of tasks you'll be given at that level?
At that level, there's a time I washed potatoes for 1 week. 16 hours a day.
Imagine, that's hilarious.
The potatoes were
but that's the work.
Yes, the potatoes were delivered as clean washed potatoes, but I had to do them again because we were high standard. So they didn't know, as much as someone can promise that they're washed, they still need to be put in the sack. Someone's holding them. So we were a Michelin star restaurant. So I spent a week washing potatoes. Wake up in the morning.
And now today I'm going to be doing the potatoes
all day.
All day long.
Yeah.
And how would you feel? I mean, how would you feel doing the potatoes the whole day instead of doing the playing with the chef, the knives and the pans?
At the time, I'm lucky I had a good mentor. I think we should also talk about that later. I had a good mentor. And he kind of told me, dude, this is the process.
The process.
Cooking is not all about being on the fire. You need all the elements that go into the pot to be ready to go into the pot. And if you do your best in your process, people will see that and they'll give you more responsibility or push you to the next. So that at the end of the day, when you get to the final stage, you understand what you're doing, what we're doing here. And then once you understand what we're doing here, you have appreciation, you'll be able to do better. If you just throw someone, jump all these steps, if you throw them at the ending point, they won't appreciate all the elements in there. And they're more prone likely to leave an element out of the dish. But why are they leaving it out? They won't understand why. So, yeah. If you're not sure why you're doing a certain thing, ask. Like, guys, why am I washing potatoes?
Ask. I like that point.
Ask, is this safe, guys? Is
that necessary?
And they'll help you understand, okay, we wash them because hygiene levels, etc. We're Michelin star. Because once Michelin star, for example, our plates were minimum $250. And you
Okay.
cannot afford to have a potato with even a speck of dust or anything.
You cannot afford to make a mistake.
Yes. So this is why the process is important.
It's
Every
important.
little nitty gritty. No one in a proper establishment will make you do something out of pettiness. Yes.
Kindly emphasize the importance of the process. We are talking to young chefs, right?
Yes.
Aspiring chefs out there. They need to know and understand the importance of being thorough.
Yes.
Starting now,
Yes.
not when you become a chef, because I believe some of these things they become easier when you make them habits.
Yes.
When they become a part of you.
Yes.
Starting from doing the dishes at home,
Yes.
cleaning your ingredients at home.
Yes.
We are saying basics.
Yes.
Please emphasize on that so that we catch them young,
All right.
give them the skills
Yes.
where to go.
I like how you said doing the dishes. Doing the dishes is one of the least liked things in the kitchen. In smaller restaurants, in smaller hotels, as a chef, you might be asked to do some dishes. But the reason why I said it's very important that you mentioned that is because, let's say, okay, you're the best player, you're the best plater, best cook in the world. You're working alone. You're cooking for 50 people in a day. You have 6 pots, only 6 pots, right? You use the first one, you put it in the sink. You use the second one, you put it in the sink. You use the third one, you put it in the sink. Use the fourth one, you put it in the sink. Fifth one, sink. Sixth one is in the sink. Now you have no pots. And now you still have 20 more people to feed.
What are you going
What
to
has
do?
become the most important thing in that moment now?
Tell us.
Doing dishes. Because you can't produce another dish without.
Without cleaning the dead ones.
Yes, which is why the process is important. This is why we need to cut our onions at the beginning, because people don't like that as well. Because we need them to build flavor in our dishes. If you leave out the dish, take shortcuts, eventually you become a shortcut. Shortcuts, and in food it shows. So.
Or in food it shows. When
Yeah.
you do shortcuts
You
in
take
food
a
it shows.
You show 100%.
Really?
Yeah.
Kindly emphasize to the young people so that we become why am I emphasizing on these things? We've become a generation which is fast forward.
Yes.
We are way behind time in our doings.
Yes.
We just want shortcuts, and
Yes.
shortcuts. And you're saying when you are a chef, the food itself
Yes.
speaks for itself when you do shortcuts.
Yes.
Kindly emphasize on that. And tell them exactly what they need to start to do so that they make sure everything that they do, there are no shortcuts.
Yes. This is also the importance of experience. Because the textbook can tell you one thing. The theoretical knowledge is if you do this, that, you get this. But if you don't see it, you may not really conceptualize what is actually happening. I can give you an example. One of our favorite dishes at our company is simple wings. But our wings go through a 3-step process.
Okay.
We braise them, so we cook so that they get a different kind of flavor with onions, carrots, and leeks.
Okay.
We braise them in that they become juicy and tender in the middle, but
Okay.
with flavor. Then we fry them to get a little crisp on the outside, and then we finish them in a sauce or a rub.
So it's sort of a coating.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So if you jump the step of
The
the
braising.
braising,
The
they won't be
flavor.
as they won't be flavored and they won't be as juicy. If you jump the stage of the frying, you get you. I don't know if you've ever had the wing and you're like biting on the bone at the end. That get a little
Yes.
crisp. Yes, you won't have that.
Oh,
And
okay.
then the other
Okay.
one is like the icing on the cake, just to finish it.
The
So-
final touch that gets to the time when
Yes.
you're biting the wing.
Yes.
The
So
process.
here's the process. If I'm doing a big service,
Mm-hmm.
a big service, just a big service,
Mm-hmm.
we do all our prep the day before, so we are ready.
Mm-hmm.
People don't understand why. People just think, let's just go same day. But once if you keep playing catch up, you just won't feel. The day will go. Might have done okay, but it will catch up to you someday. Well, if I'm doing a high end, which is what we strive to do, high end, we start prep 2 days before.
2D4.
All the elements, because there's lots of different cooking techniques, which is why experience is also good. You learn those cooking techniques. Cooking under a certain temperature, in water, in oil, it all produces different results. So this is why the process of learning is good. So also just as a point was to watch out. It's good to go through this process, but it's also good to hold the people you might go to attachment to accountable to the learning. You do your part, but also make sure you're
You're
learning.
strategically positioned with the
Yes, and holding them accountable. Okay, chef, I'm an intern, yes, and I'm here for learning. Can I learn different elements of your kitchen, different, so that you're on rotation. One day you're shouldering someone who's doing salads, one day you're shouldering with someone who's doing the meats, so that you know each process. Because I find some people, they'll go, they just show up, and the whole internship or academic,
They
or
only know how to do soups.
yes, and then interview of the next job. What are you good at? Soups. Okay. Did you touch anything else? So it's good as it is to go through the, I don't really call it hardship, but the learning part.
You're actually mentioning something essential. Be someone who's inquisitive,
Yes.
eager to learn.
Curious. Yes.
Now that brings me to the other question. What kind of character or attributes must a chef have?
Okay.
Things that you say every chef must develop these things. You say you spoke about cleanliness, being thorough, respecting the process. What other things should our young chefs out there start to work on? The attribute they must have.
But one attribute that helped me, that I think when I do take people who want to learn, is be inquisitive. I would rather you ask me 10,000 questions and even repeat the question than you doing what you want and making a mistake. A mistake can be rectified, of course, but you don't want to repeat the same mistake.
Of course.
I actually have a rule in my kitchen. First mistake, we're good. There's no, it's part of the learning process.
A lot of learning.
Second mistake, okay. That's that. After that, now you're just being stubborn, or you're refusing to learn. So if you're not sure, which is why also another thing most chefs like, one of my mentor chefs, drilled it in me in the beginning. Because there's so many things you're learning in the kitchen as you start. It's like a new world.
It's a new world.
You tend to forget some things.
Of course.
So some chefs are not as patient as others. So take your notebook. Write down. Whether it's for you just to reflect when you're laying down, I did this is the process. Or you want to show about something and you want to see another perspective, there's social media. TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Research online, the internet is your oyster, which is now beautiful now as compared to 30 years ago. So now you can say, hey, I heard a word the chef said, but hey, I'm scared to ask him. What is that word? I think I'm supposed to know. Guess what? You get home, Google. What is sous vide? Sous vide is cooking in water, blah, blah, at a temperature between 60 and 80 degrees.
Okay.
You start
and then it
understand.
becomes the eureka moment.
Yes, and you start to understand why we did. Because if you cook at that temperature, although you cook for longer, it keeps the meat from getting hard. So the people like, this meat is so tender, it's falling off the bone.
And you're mentioning something very critical that is essential in your field. In order for you to be the best chef, be someone who's willing to learn.
Yes.
Be a fool for a second.
Yes.
And be the wisest person for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Kindly emphasize to our young people, someone said psychologically we tend to withdraw from the habit of asking as we grow. We start to shy out, especially if we were in that habit of asking naturally. I mean, kids are curious.
Yeah.
And then the people that you were asking, they were always brushing you aside, or taking you for a fool and all these things. Then you start to hide away.
Yeah.
Kindly emphasize on the importance of asking.
Yes.
Asking for help, asking for knowledge. It's okay.
Yes.
We need our young people to understand that it's okay to ask questions.
Yes. Ask questions. I can't emphasize as much. Ask questions. Ask, if you can ask your chef at the time, ask your mentor. If you can ask your mentor, ask Google. Most people nowadays are using TikTok. Ask TikTok as well. Just continual growth, as always, strive to be better and get information every day. Doesn't mean you always have to use all the information. You use what's relevant to you and proves you. But if you a continuous learning process, you don't become stagnant or get left behind.
Very true. Very true.
So yeah, and ask. You're not above anybody.
You're not.
Ask anyone. If I see someone doing something I haven't seen in the kitchen, I ask why they're doing that. You understand what they see that they're doing with this that's making their product better. And if it's something I can take along with me, I'll take it.
You take it.
Yeah. Because as well, yeah. And I ask in a polite way. Also, how you ask is also very essential.
How you ask is very important. Very
Because
important.
some people might ask in a derogatory way,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like, why are you doing that? You know, way of,
I mean, who does that?
yeah, trying to undermine someone. If you ask someone from that perspective,
Of course, they're going to.
their response is already going to be of animosity.
Mm-hmm.
But if you ask as a curious person, like just trying to learn,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
then you're golden.
You're ready for yourself, young people. Sometimes it's not about the question, but it's also about how you ask. But we encourage you guys out there, young people and family members who are listening to this episode today, encourage the young people to ask. And ask in a very polite manner.
Yeah.
Ask to learn, ask to grow yourself. It's essential. You can never go wrong. After all, it's a characteristics which is within us, inborn.
Yes.
The hunger to learn.
Yes.
Thank you very much for that, Jai. You mentioned something about TikTok and social media.
Yes.
That brings me to the other question.
All right.
To say, these days, anyone can call themselves a chef
100%.
because they know how to follow a recipe.
Yes, yes.
And what problem is that developing? We are now having our young people saying, is there really need for me to go to school? Is it necessary? I mean, can you address these concerns? Because I'm actually worried myself. Now you spoke about these technical issues, about chef. Is there really importance for one to receive an education as a chef? You said yourself you were in practice before you became educated. Can you take us through that? Is it important for one to receive the education, or I can just walk about and say I'm a chef?
All right. So that's another thing that a lot of chefs complain about. People who've been trained formally, that everyone calls themselves a chef. Personally, for me in my situation, someone liked what I was doing and they took a risk on me. It's not always going to, yes. And I think they paid well because once COVID stopped, they called me back and said, can you come back? So I think they enjoyed our alliance at the time. So yeah, someone took a risk on me. And then
Did you go to school yourself?
I did go.
Then do
Yes, I did go to formal school.
after.
Yes,
Okay,
after
okay.
that one. So when COVID happened, I actually went through during COVID. I went and did formal education during COVID.
Beautiful. So he's a professional chef. So you can proceed with the.
So the high thing that I want to emphasize to people, cooking for 6 people at home is different for cooking for 100 people off-site, cooking for 2,000 people in a day, cooking for 500 people within 2 hours. It is very, very different. There's many, many, many aspects you need to worry about. Food handling, i.e. people are not getting food poisoning. You're adhering to a consistent standard of food. That the first 10 people, what they eat is the same as what the last 10 people. Because what mostly happens usually when people take on a job that's too big, more than they can chew, it starts good, and it declines as the day goes, which is normal and natural for people. So yeah, there is many aspects. Being a cook is different than being a chef.
Okay, can you tell us how a cook is different from a chef?
Being a cook, your sole responsibility is you're given a set of tasks that you have to achieve. As a chef, you have to manage all aspects of the whole process. That's from the sourcing of ingredients. Are the ingredients the quality good? Is your source enough? Can you supply enough for what you needed to do? And on a consistent basis in terms of, okay, I'm doing a wedding today for 100. Next week I'm doing a wedding for 100. In 3 weeks. In 6 weeks time, if I come back asking for potatoes for 100 people, are you going to be consistent with that? So those are things you have to look out for way before you even start to
do the cooking.
Yes. The recipe, is it connecting with your people? The people who are paying you for it, liking the recipe that you've developed, is it realistic to produce it in a way that's smart? It's achievable, it's in a certain time frame, it can be consistent. So that's what comes, the chef starts to encompass. A cook literally goes home, sleeps, he just comes tomorrow and says, chef, I don't have stock. Chef, my pot is broken. Chef.
And the chef has to make sure everything, all
Yes.
those complaints are sorted out.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's the difference between a chef and a cook.
That's the
I'm
difference.
very okay with people saying they're home cooks.
But calling themselves chefs.
Yeah, I end up just keeping quiet because you can't win the fight.
Of course.
Um,
You actually mentioned something which is essential, which then differentiates a cook from a chef.
Yeah.
You talk about food handling in big events and consistency in terms of the product.
Yeah.
I believe it's a challenge in your field.
Yes.
A young person out there who aspires to be a chef, what should they do in terms of dealing with this challenge? Because it's a great challenge. You find most weddings, they are being done by those self-proclaimed chefs.
Yes.
And they're doing a mess. I remember one of my my colleagues' wedding. Everyone at the wedding had a ranitan because the beef was messed up. I don't know how they prepared, but it was just a mess. And we're saying these are real issues when it comes to your field, and they're tarnishing your image, the professional ones. This is a major challenge. What word of information would you want to give a young person who wants to get into this, and how best would you suggest you need to handle these issues?
So, to answer your question, we actually spoke about a couple of elements earlier, and I'll just highlight them. So, part of going through the process. In the beginning, don't take jobs that are too big for you. Know your place. What do I mean by know your place? If you're confident you can deliver something good for 8 people, take it on. If you're confident you can do 100 people, and then you're true self that you can deliver, take it on. But also the other short-termism of someone hears 100 people means money. I'm gonna take the money
The money we
and I'm
spoke
gonna
about.
figure it out. Yes. So that short-termism is where it affects, and which is why it affects chefs in general, especially in Zimbabwe, because now with the short-termism, people are taking jobs they cannot deliver on.
They just buy equipment and then they call themselves events. What do you call? And then they just do a mess.
A mess. And so what now? Because I'm giving an example just to give you a sidebar. 30% of my job, I spend it convincing the client, guys.
You can do a good job.
I'm not Dingy or Dingy who did this to you before. So far I've had a promise since I started that if you really don't like our work, you can take all your money back. And I haven't had anybody come back and say, "Oh no, money back."
Thank God for that.
But most people, it seems, of course, due to hardship and circumstance, someone says, "I can't have my money back." Usually they can't produce it. And this is why now people who may have money and have big events go to the same few trusted people, and or will pay very, very little to someone new.
True, because they're not sure of the service, whether they're going to receive which is value for their money.
Yes.
So, young people out there, you've got a challenge. If we are to change our food industry,
Yes.
it starts with you and your seniors here. They are already fighting the fight. It's not really nice to spend 30% of your time convincing a customer that you can do the best, because there's many people who are messing up the
Disappointed them before.
yes, we are messing up your profession.
Yeah.
Young people out there, you really need to start to convince your smaller circles
Your
to
circle.
do things right.
Yes.
To do things right. Book
By
the
the
book.
Understand your limitations. Once you understand your limitations, you can now understand how you can improve, how you can do it better, and what you can take on. I've had jobs where I've been like, "Hey guys, I can't deliver what you're expecting." It can be a budgetary concern. It can also be a logistical concern. It can also be just the capacity concern. I've had, sometimes I'd have to do 6 jobs in one day and make all the money, but I can't do that to deliver consistency also across all 6 jobs.
Because you want to make sure you're giving people value for their money, and you've got a name to protect, a brand to build.
And people respect it when you say, "No, I can't do that," or "Not today," or "Not yet."
Today.
Then do it, and then
So that's very essential for you, a young aspiring chef out there. It's okay to say I cannot.
Yes.
And no, it's okay. No.
Yes.
Saying no, it's okay.
Why
Not
do
to do. Yes, if you need to rope in other people, then you can rope other chefs to make sure you do teamwork. You have decided to move from the corporate world into your entrepreneur zone.
Yes.
What inspired that change? How long have you been working in? How long did you work as an employee in the chef's world?
In the chef's world as an employee, almost close to 10 years.
Close to 10 years.
Yes.
Then what made you shift now into the entrepreneur circles?
Well, firstly, like I said, I was gaining my experience, gaining the muscles, seeing what's out there, what people like, and learning what I want. And then at some point, I was like, I also want to put my personality in the food and in what I'm doing, which is where we came up with our brand, Bird's Nest. On WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram, as well as TikTok. So we put all our work that we've done there, and we've also put all our services that we do on there. That's how people know about what we do, and we also sometimes here and there boost so that we get to new people, new followers, new viewers.
So how is the journey like? Are you able to put your name in the food? I've seen a lot of people. They treat food like it's something which is far away, but you're saying you need to put your name in the food. Tell us more about that.
It's your personality.
And the importance for putting your personality in your food.
I actually read something recently. They said do something or do something that is easy for you to be yourself in it. If you try to live within or do something that's out of your comfort zone or out of your beyond your means, you get tired. It's not sustainable. Yes. So if you put your personality out in the plate, enjoy it, people get to know you, and people can feel that it was made with all the effort and love. It's one of the ingredients that's very misunderstood. That extra care and love and passion for what exactly is being done. If someone cooks like that for you, and someone cooks just because they want to make money, trust me, it can be the same meal, but you feel it.
Aspiring chefs out there, it's not just about putting the ingredients together.
Exactly.
It's about love, putting your heart into it. So if you are someone, and that speaks to passion. If you're passionate about the work that you're doing, which is very, very important. Do you have a social life?
Do I have a social life? Yes.
What do you like to do? Because the way you're talking about work, we might end up thinking chefs don't have a social life.
Read.
Okay.
Running. I go to the gym. I'm also into sports. As well as I like to eat out. Funny enough.
Eating out, trying new recipes.
Yes.
And exploring.
Yes.
So I guess food speaks to you, does it?
Yeah. So it's important to always take time to yourself. Recharge the mind, recharge the body. Keeps you energetic, keeps you fresh, keeps you creative. So there's also another misconception about all you gotta do is work. Know your limits.
Very true.
But when you do put yourself to work, work to your best ability and your best capacity.
So balancing work is very essential.
Yes. Some people can do 4 days a week, some can do 6. And it's okay, everyone is not the same. But when you do put yourself to it, don't do a half job.
Don't do a half job.
Yes.
Put your heart to it. And the work speaks for itself.
Yes.
And the work speaks for itself. Thank you very much. At least now I'm aware that chefs have a social life, which is very essential because you cannot prepare a good meal when you're not feeling well.
Yes.
Your health as a chef is a resource. Have you ever had an opportunity to work with young chefs, aspiring maybe those who are in their trainee, or to mentor someone?
All right. On my team, I have a couple of chefs who are starting from scratch. They mentioned to me they have the passion for cooking, but they don't have the means to go to culinary school or the like. So I have a couple like that. I've also got a couple who are in culinary school.
Where do people access culinary schools? Because that might be another challenge. Yes, a young person wants to access education, formal education, but they don't know where to receive such services. All they know is in high school we do food and nutrition.
Yes,
They
yes,
now call it technology, food technology.
Yes.
In Poly, I think it does also food technology, something.
Yeah.
Where do people really get to now have information on culinary issues? Probably our young people, they need to know where they can access these services.
All right. There's a couple of chefs associations online on Facebook in Zimbabwe.
Do you have one in mind?
It's called Zimbabwe Chefs Association. You can reach out to myself. But there's 15 registered culinary schools last time I checked in Zimbabwe.
In Zimbabwe?
There's way more, but I know there's 15 registered ones.
But the best, which ones are the best, which you would recommend someone who wants to become an internationally recognized chef?
One of the 15 registered ones. If the culinary school is backed by HEXCO and by City and Guilds, those are the two boards for the culinary school, then you're golden.
You're good to go.
You get proper certificates and you get training that allows you to have that.
I think I remember culinary art school in, is it Highlands?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one as well.
Yes,
That's a
that
good
one's backed by City and Guilds.
It is,
Yes.
it is. That's what I remembered. So there you have it, friends. You don't need to be stuck in terms of where you're going to receive the best formal education. As we wrap up our interview, our conversation, what are the gaps in your field and what are the opportunities?
Okay, what are the gaps? As of right now, I believe
Maybe both in knowledge and in practice. What are the gaps?
the gaps, first of all, is short-termism. Why do I say that word? Once you decide to invest in a certain line of business, don't be generalist. Specialize, and once you specialize, put a value on your business, and don't be beaten down by it's too expensive. Can we make it cheaper? Just so that you get a job from the next person. Because if you do that, you keep doing that, you're making it suffer for everybody as well as yourself. Because now people know that you're willing to compromise on your price, which means you're compromising on your value. I can tell you some of the things that I offer. I have people who don't ask questions. They'll pay and say, see you on the day. There's people who try to negotiate here and there, and then they'll still pay. Then those people who negotiate, and then just end up not doing anything. So once you put a value, I've turned away jobs way up. I let that money go, but you have to, because it's the reputation, the consistency. That's also the aspect of managing business. So if someone's got a mind of a home cook, we just be like, discount, but I'm still making said amount of dollars. But people tend to forget the value of your, it's called the intangible skill, the
soft skills.
The soft skills, proprietary information, those kind of things. They don't put value on that. They end up just breaking it down to, it's just labor. I'm just cooking it in freezing. So now you put your own.
That reminds me, you spoke about soft skills. You deal with people every day.
1000%.
What are the soft skills should a young, aspiring chef out there should develop? Because I understand the most difficult thing to work with is a human being. If I can call it a thing, but in context. What sort of soft skills should a young person?
Communication. Compassion. Problem resolving. In case an issue happens before or during, find the best solution that makes everybody happy in the best way possible. Mistakes will happen. I've been in a service where it was breakfast, and we're serving breakfast, and then almost 20 liters of porridge just fell on the floor. Not because someone wanted to, it was a mistake.
It was an accident.
The machine that was pushing it, the cart, it broke. And this is 5 minutes before service. So problem resolution. We ended up making a thing on our feet, and we decided, okay, we're gonna do an omelette station, a live omelette. And you walk up to the we set up like 6 stoves, gas stoves, and people with two stoves. So people walking up, can I have an omelette? Shh, and we're passing it. And the client ended up being extra happy.
Because you were quick to think on your feet. These are soft skills.
Yes.
Small things, because the books, they don't really tell us about these soft skills. Yet it's one of the things that can make you unpopular
Yeah.
or someone whom people don't want to associate with
Yeah.
in your field. They say, yes, he's very good with his food, but the way he brings service to the people,
Yeah.
it's not right.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to emphasize on more other soft skills an individual, an aspiring chef needs to develop starting now.
Another soft skill I believe is business development. People don't take issue because people, I don't know, people have either tendency to feel like it should be given to them, and or are scared to be like, if you ask for business, it seems like you're desperate.
Mm-hmm.
I personally myself, and people can try it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Every day I go on in LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
I see people who are in procurement of certain big companies locally.
You approach them.
I approach them
Mm-hmm.
because they don't know what's out there. If
They don't know. They don't know about you. If you don't knock on my door, I don't know who is behind it.
Exactly. So that's another thing that people need to change the perspective. It's not begging. It's not, I don't need money to.
Self-marketing.
Yes.
And that it speaks to you. You did business development.
Yeah.
So would you recommend for someone who wants to be an aspiring chef to also take business management as an extra course?
Most proper good culinary programs will have a component of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because they'll have communication,
Mm-hmm.
try to help people how to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have research and writing
Mm-hmm.
to teach people how to write proposals.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when if you're one of those people who wants to go far,
Mm-hmm.
you write proposals and tenders.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can start doing big government jobs or for big corporates. So when you're signing up for a culinary program, look at all the components they have, and
So that it be one-stop shop.
Yes.
For you. I think you've hit it for yourself. So when you're choosing your culinary school, make sure you choose right so that you get everything in one package. Education is key for an aspiring chef. We need to change the story and improve our food industry. So maybe last words, words of encouragement, words of information, or anything, or any area that you feel we did not attend to in this interview that you
Yes.
feel it's essential for aspiring chefs to know.
Yes. Have at least 3 mentors.
3 mentors.
Chef mentors,
Mm-hmm.
whether retired or have changed industries, but as long as they've had experience as a chef.
Why is it important?
Why is it important? Especially in the beginning, there's many things you end up doing that you don't understand why you're doing them. And make sure you share the vision with them. You share a similar vision to them, so then they can guide you and tell you where you're lacking, where you can grow. And it's not bad to have mentors. Doesn't mean they're a mentor for the rest of your life. We can the relationship can become redundant. It's not a bad thing. It's just professional thing.
After all, they've saved their purpose.
Yes, and then but always make sure you have 3 different mentors, and also I think at least a couple of personal mentors, people who have done well in their fields, and the hardships they can share, and their hardships they've shared. Because I believe in all different fields, the hardships are pretty much similar. Yeah, that'll build you up from the personal side of things. And then the last part one is I urge everyone to take a risk sometimes. The risk for some people is financial. The risk for some people is a social risk. Would they accept me at home? Would they believe it? That's also a risk. Other people I know have left so-called high-paying jobs. That's a risk.
That's a risk.
Cooking out of your comfort zone, that's taking a risk. Cooking at a new function, that's also a risk.
That's a risk.
So there's a risk in everything. Nothing good comes easy. Just stay true to what you've promised and deliver on that promise consistently, and people will appreciate and respect it. Just start to cook and start to document it.
Thank you so much, Chef Itai, for this wonderful time you've given unto us, and also sharing your expertise, the hassles, the stress, and everything, and also informing us that the dollar is there, but the work has to be done.
Yes.
The work has to be done. So until next time, friends, bye-bye.